All right, episode 3, Crowds for Kings.
The podcast.
The podcast. Okay, so up today we'll talk about
human rights, human decisions, what the struggle is of being an everyday human, the good parts, bad parts,
right.
Just everything.
So kick it off with making choices, making decisions. What goes into what are tough decisions you have to make on a daily basis? What goes into making those decisions? Take us through that process a little bit in your personal life.
So I want to start by saying the process of the choices I make, because most of the choices I find are good. Thank God it's in God's hands what I say, what I do. I just want to thank God for that. And for me, the process of me thinking of what I'm about to say, it's developed into something better, because before I just said what I wanted. Now I sort of have an educated decision on what I want to do, and it's sort of from experience of what I've said in the past and the effects of what that's done to me. So
kind of learn and trial and error. So you mess up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops.
I mess up and I
self-correction machine.
Yeah, it's I mess up, because usually some things that I say I say stuff with my friends and they're like, oh, that's not cool. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I wouldn't say that again, right?
Right.
So I think I learned most from the bad decisions I make, and then the good decisions I just try influencing that on myself, which is better.
That's very awesome. That's literally taking me exactly where I want to go. Okay, so can you give some examples, personal or whatever, if you don't mind, of situations where you've messed up and then you're faced with the challenge again, and because you learned from your past, you've corrected yourself?
I could use anything, as in a sports reference. If I give a bad pass, then I'll always learn from that and not do it again. Right. Or maybe it's something that I've said to hurt someone. For instance, I was in a fight with a kid in school, right? And we were saying hurtful things to each other, and I said something more hurtful, and he sort of got extremely offended, and I got in trouble for it, even though we were both fighting. But I sort of retained the fact that I was the one who said something more hurtful and very personal towards him, and I thought first I apologized to him, and then I said to myself, I said you shouldn't say that again. That could really hurt someone, no matter who it is. So yeah, I learned from that. Or
so that's interesting. So two people hanging out and they're having a good time with each other. A lot of times it includes, especially between guys, poking fun or whatever. Yeah, it's all. But then when you cross a certain line, and then as you hit that line, you kind of learn, okay, that's a place I don't want to go because it doesn't like that.
And you sort of get the punishment from what you've learned.
Right. So you take it, you absorb it.
Yeah.
Make a mental note, and if you don't mind asking, what's your relationship with that guy now, that kid?
I try not to talk to him, and I try to avoid him, and it works out.
It works out, but there's a respectful kind of...
Yeah. Sort of a mutual respect and mutual not talk to each other.
Right. Okay, so there's both the examples you gave are between you and other people. Mm-hmm. Anything internally, an example, a decision you were making in your own head, do something, not do something?
Oh yeah, all the time. When I'm at the dinner table.
Yeah. And
I want to say something, and then I'm always thinking, and it's it takes an hour to process, and then I just don't say it, and then maybe later I'm hanging out with Josh or Isaac, and I would say it, and it would be funny towards them, but I know at the table it wouldn't be too funny.
So so you're very aware of the situation around you.
Yeah,
and you take all the people around you into consideration. Maybe not for this situation, maybe better for another situation.
Yeah. And I always have someone to tell, so it's not that hard to hold it back.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Right. So what's funny is that as people, we're not programmed to always do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? We have this part of us that wants to do. In other words, there's a part of you that thinks it would be really funny to say that thing right now.
Yeah.
There's another part of you that says, probably a bad idea.
Exactly.
Right?
Or
and then you spend your life kind of bouncing between those.
Yeah, or anything, whether I want to do, whether I want to speak bad about someone, and I know what the punishment will be, and I know the effect of it, So I try holding it in.
Punishment, you mean like the bad consequences, or like
Yeah.
teacher punishing you?
What
You
it'll do
mean like,
to them, what
Okay.
it'll do to me,
Right.
how it'll affect how people look at me,
right.
stuff like that.
In other words, we're not talking about like someone else punishing you, but punishment
Yeah.
meaning like it changes your personality, changes your
Yeah,
character. There's some
exactly.
part of your character that's now is not as good as it used to be because of
Something that I've done.
or somebody else is hurt,
Yeah,
and you have a hard time fixing that also.
exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. So in the Parsha, Yaakov is going back to his brother, and when he's crossing over a river, he meets the angel,
Oh yeah,
right? He struggles with the angel,
yeah,
and then he wins the angel.
yeah. He got hit in the leg, right?
He got hit in the legs. He left with a scar. But when he wins the angel gives him a new name,
Oh yeah,
right? He used to be called Yaakov, which actually means heel, like the lowest part of the body. And then he gets the name Yisrael. Yisrael, Israel.
yeah,
And Yisrael means that he overpowered a divine creature, because he overpowered the angel. But if you rearrange the words of Yisrael, you get the words Li Rosh, head of mine, or my head. So you go from heel to head. And he gets that by struggling.
So
Right.
he sort of enhances what he has.
Exactly.
Because
Even though he
of
gets a
what
scar.
because of his past. Because
Even
of
though he gets
what he did.
That's right. So even though he gets a scar, so when he's dealing with a struggle, even though he leaves with a scar, he actually,
Games.
that's right. So he becomes a bigger person with the scar that he gets. And here's something interesting. This is where I was getting to, like the choice thing. In Torah, we refer to angels as spiritual animals, because in the same way animals are predetermined, they run on instinct.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're not. They don't have like a free choice of what they want to do.
Exactly.
They're sort of like, I want this. I'm doing it.
That's right. They don't make that kind of decision you're talking about. Think who's around here.
Yeah.
A cow wants to use the bathroom, it just does, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't look for a toilet that has a lock, right? But human beings have that kind of thing. So you have to make
Pre-processed mind.
exactly. You have to think about it, and you have choices, and you have desires to do one thing, good things, and you have desires to do not such good things, right? So an angel that Yaakov's struggling with is an angel kind of symbolizes being predetermined. You know what that means? It's like you're programmed a certain way, and Yaakov struggles with that and says, "I'm overcoming that," and that's what makes him stronger.
So what his pre-experience was,
Whatever it is,
it made him stronger.
that's right. So whatever, like you know, it's like the worst thing, the lowest level person can get to.
That's the lowest you could get.
It's but
So you're only getting from there.
that's true, but a very like dark place for a person to go if a person gets to the point where he says, "It's just who I am. I behave that way." You know how that happens. Like the kid who all the teachers tell him, "Oh, you're a troublemaker," and then when the kid does trouble, the teacher tells the kid, "Why'd you do that?" So he says, "What do you mean? Because I'm the troublemaker. I've already accepted my fate as being that bad kid. So what have to change for?" And that's you have to break out of whatever, like that mold that people around you, or even the mold you tell yourself, like this is the way I am, this is how I'm stuck. That's like an angel type thing. It's like an animal type thing. It's just the way I am. And human beings,
you have decision.
that's right. And it's gonna hurt. You might break your leg along the way, right? Like Yaakov broke his leg. It's gonna hurt. Sometimes it's gonna hurt to tell yourself, no, I've always been the guy who, I don't know, does this terrible thing, but now I'm not going to.
Yeah, because
I decided I don't want to. You rise above that. Right? It's a difficult thing to do, but it's what takes you from the heel to the head. So it makes you to a real man. Essentially, that's what a man is. Right?